Access lessons and resources anytime, anywhere. Download the Easy Learn app today.
When it comes to preparing surfaces ready to be plastered, most surfaces other than fresh plasterboard will actually need to be primed. And this is to kill any excessive suction that would otherwise pull in the moisture from the plaster too fast, causing it to crack, dry unevenly, or even sometimes become completely unworkable after just a few minutes. Another reason is to secure down any dust or loose particles which would otherwise cause the plaster to fail to adhere and basically just fall away. Two of the main primers typically used by most plasterers are SBR and PVA. Choosing which one to use can depend on multiple factors. SBR is much superior when priming particularly damp areas with exceptional high suction, external walls, or surfaces such as dry concrete. However, PVA is much cheaper, more widely accessible, and generally fine for everyday indoor plastering. Which one you choose is down to both personal preference and particular circumstance. Without knocking those that use SBR, I have always used PVA and I've always found it to be a great primer for indoor plastering. PVA will need to be diluted with water, and the ratio will depend on whatever particular background you're working on at the time. Attached to this video is a downloadable PDF which can be used as a rough guide for the ratio mixing of PVA to water across multiple different surfaces. SBR is generally not diluted with water, but always be mindful to check the individual manufacturer's product information, as this may change if working on certain surfaces, like those with extremely high suction for example. When mixing PVA with water, first pour the PVA into a bucket and then apply the recommended amount of water based on the background that you'll be working on. Then mix it thoroughly with a brush until the PVA is fully diluted with the water. Don't overthink this in terms of getting the ratio bang on. Just pour in the PVA and then eye in the general amount of water needed. So long as there's enough primer to cover the surface you're working on, you'll be fine. And once dry, you can always do a second pass with the PVA to ensure the area is primed sufficiently. In some circumstances, when priming particularly high suction surfaces, such as hardwall or masonry backgrounds, you may need to do this multiple times anyway to ensure that you have fully killed off any remaining suction. Once the PVA has dried or at least gone to a tacky texture to the touch, you are ready to apply your base coat of plaster. Ensure that the PVA is still not too wet on the surface, as this can lead to problems such as bubbling, which is when air gets trapped between the plaster and the PVA and causes small bubbles to appear across the plaster. We will show you how to identify and fix this more in Module 3, but to avoid this altogether, make sure the primer has taken up fully before moving on to the next stage, which is plastering.